As always, before the regular video starts, I thought you might enjoy these airmails. Yes, indeed. Welcome back to Tribes, everybody. Today I'm playing Brood again, and this video is something I like to call the Gladiator Murder Spree, because that's pretty much what it ended up being. For those of you who don't know, Gladiator is a bit of a specialized weapon, I guess we might call it, and that in a pure combat role, it's one of the worst choices you can make. It has its very specific, specialized uses that it excels at, but from a dueling perspective, yeah, it's not good. However, on occasion, we're able to make these things work, and this was one of those occasions. As you will see, I very much go on a murder spree with the thing. Very nearly making the Slayer, but unfortunately not quite. In fact, I had a series of matches the day I was recording this. I pretty much played exclusively with the Gladiator the entire play session. Almost made the Slayer several times, but never quite managed to get it. As you probably know if you've ever tried to use the Gladiator, it's not the best choice. How about that? So using the Gladiator, what does that involve? Well, the reason this weapon is very difficult to use is because not only do you have to lead the target and figure out where the enemy is going to be when you're aiming, you also have to figure out, based upon how long it takes for the weapon to actually detonate, if you're going to hit based upon that. So what I mean by that is you'll notice that when the shot hits the ground, there's a slight delay before the explosion actually happens, which is what does the damage. Now, if you direct hit somebody with this thing, it will explode instantly, and it hurts. 1,120 damage, I believe, which is one of the highest direct hit damages in the game of anything. So that hurts a lot. The problem is that if you don't direct hit with the weapon, there is that few second delay, or maybe second delay, before the weapon actually explodes. This means that not only do you have to figure out where the enemy is going to be, as again I was saying this, but you also have to figure out whether or not the weapon will detonate in time. So it's quite the thing to actually figure out how to aim this effectively in a duel scenario. I did mention this weapon does excel at certain things. Those certain things are basically destroying base defenses. So if you go up to a turret, the burst is quick enough that it's going to actually cancel out the shield effect, meaning that you can basically get through a shielded turret with no problem. Also, this is really hilarious. I'm apologizing to the guy for killing him while he was typing, and then immediately turn around and just double kill a couple guys who were trying to kill me while I was typing. Good times. As you can see, a light class is pretty much going down one hit with this thing. Now, the projectile size is pretty large, so that's an advantage. The problem is that this thing takes an eternity to reload. So if you do miss that first shot, I'm just in awe of the fact that people are getting killed by that. Regardless, if you do manage to miss the first shot against someone who is on your skill level, or above it, of course, you're going to die. And honestly, as I was saying, in a duel scenario, this is not what you want to be using. For base defenses, it's good. For anything else, it's not what you want to be using. Also, in keeping with the trend of my videos involving Brute, there's going to be flag capping, because why not? So because the Gladiator is pretty much ruled out in most scenarios as a combat weapon, although that turns out not to be the case in this match, you're going to be depending a lot upon your secondary. Most people will pick the plasma cannon. I will not. Also, this Shazbot has the flag but decides to come back and kill me just out of spite. Oh well, it happens. Anyways, as far as secondaries go, most people will pick the plasma cannon, as I've said. I tend to not like the plasma cannon. I think that the damage and the projectile speed are too low for the thing to actually be useful. So, you know, if it came down to Spin Fuser versus Plasma Cannon, I would say Spin Fuser every time. Of course, if it came down to Gladiator versus Spin Fuser, I would also say Spin Fuser every time. But my setup that I'm using in this video, and I continue to use whenever I use the Gladiator, is actually to have the shotgun as my secondary. Whether you're going to be using the regular shotgun, just the default one, or the yes, get owned, or the hammer, which is the alternate version, it doesn't really matter too much. Hammer does a bit more damage, has a bit less ammo, so they pretty much balance out. If you had to pick one or the other, well, I'm using the hammer in this video, so whatever that's worth. Basically what the shotgun is going to allow you to do is kill anybody who comes up to you at close range. The main problem is not the people firing you from mid-range, because you can sort of dance around and dodge those people. By the way, you're going to see how much damage the thing does to generators. Yeah, that's quite a bit. You know, the main problem is not the people who are firing you from mid-range, because again, you can avoid that. You can kind of dance around or, you know, just run away. It's the people that float right above your head and direct hit you with Spin Fuser type weapons. So what you can do is throw on the shotgun, and whenever they get within range, almost had the E-grab there. Almost, but not quite. And this guy, unfortunately, doesn't know when to quit. And is killed, not so much by me as by his hubris. Anyways, you know, the main threat you're going to have as Brute, or any of the heavy classes that are slow, is the person floating above your head, just out of reach, you know, direct hitting you. Well, if you've got an automatic shotgun, they're not going to want to do that, because you can whittle down their health very, very quickly. Now, you're not going to see me use the shotgun a ton in this video, mostly because I was trying to go exclusively with the Gladiator for the majority of it. You will see me use the shotgun a little bit, just if I get into a, you know, situation that I can't get out of otherwise. I'll switch over to it. But it's a pretty good option, because you can actually lure people in with the Gladiator, make them think that that's all you've got, and then as soon as they get close enough that they think they're going to be able to kill you, you just blow them to pieces with the shotgun. And it works reasonably well. Again, as you can see, it's definitely difficult to coordinate your shots and plan things out, but if you actually manage to get either a distracted enemy or an enemy that's just very predictable, you can absolutely wreck people with this weapon, as I'm kind of doing here. Obviously, I could have killed that guy had I decided to switch to the shotgun, but hey. It's all good. I decided to abort and just do that. Anyways, the general strategy here would be, when someone comes in, you switch over to the shotgun, give them the false sense of security that you're not going to be able to hit them, and, well, again, blast them to bits. It works reasonably well. The good thing is that when you're playing as Brute, you have enough HP that you can take a couple shots and have it not be the end of the world. So you can use that to your advantage. And as you can see, light classes going to go down very, very easily to the shotgun. So if you got that annoying Pathfinder sitting above you, shoot him in the face a couple times. That usually does the trick. As far as the other secondaries go, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't recommend using the Gladiator in most situations. My ideal setup would be the one that I was using in the other Brute video, better Brute gameplay, as I called it, which I will link in the description if you want to check it out. If you don't, that's cool. What I think is the best setup for Brute would have to be Devastator Spin Fuser and the Revolver, whatever that weapon's called. The name of it is slipping my mind at the moment, for whatever reason. That's actually a very effective setup for combat. If you're going with the Gladiator, as I said, I would recommend the shotgun. One of the shotguns, doesn't really matter too much which one. And in almost every situation as Brute, I would recommend the fractal grenades over the sticky grenade. Sticky grenade for me, honestly, I mean, I see the utility of it, but it seems that the fractal grenade is just a better choice all in all. You get that area denial, which is very important indoors, which is where you should be spending most of your time as Brute. Unless you're me and you decide to romp through the midfield like an idiot. And, you know, murder people relentlessly with a weapon that's not designed to do such a thing. Yeah, might as well just do the chasing and the flag retrieval as Brute. That works well enough. That was kind of cool. I liked that. I think the main draw of using this weapon, honestly, is not the fact that it's actually useful. It's more just the satisfaction you get when you actually manage to kill somebody with it. Nothing quite beats that. An airmail with this thing on a Pathfinder coming in to grab your flag. It's a wonderful thing. It is a wonderful thing. So what else can be said, honestly? Which pack would I recommend? When I'm using the Spin Fuser, I always use the energy pack, just, you know, to give you a little bit of an extra boost. If you're going to be spending a lot of time indoors, as you very well might be if you're using Gladiator, the shield pack is generally a good choice. That's basically going to, you know, it's the same as the Raiders pack. It lets you negate damage in exchange for energy. So using that, yeah, you can absolutely just rack up billions and billions of kills in the generator room. That's always an option. There's another airmail. It's just wonderful. That's always an option. And the survival pack, I believe it's called, also a good choice. I mean, Brute is pretty well balanced as far as equipment all around. So, I wouldn't recommend a particular one over the other. Survival pack is more of an all-around thing. Energy pack is good for staying in the air longer, and shield pack is good for, you know, gen camping. So it's really all a matter of preference and a matter of playstyle choice. Perk setup. When I'm playing Brute, I will pretty much always use Survivalist. Just gives you that, you know, health and energy regen, basically when you kill a guy. You have to pick up his ammo drop, obviously, but, you know, again, especially indoors, if you can get that regen from that, basically it means every time you kill a guy, you extend your life, which is pretty much what Brute is all about. That was actually a really nice return, by the way. I did mention that I almost get to the Slayer, but again, I would like to stress that I do not quite make it. Maybe someday, but you're bound to be slightly disappointed, I'm afraid. Now, if you are planning to use this setup, I would recommend liberal use of the Tactical Strike as an offensive weapon against single players. can't quite remember if any of that goes on here, but it's something I've become quite fond of lately. You probably saw that in my last Sentinel video, if I've posted that by this point. You probably saw that in my Shrike video. It's quite effective, honestly, especially if you're playing on a server where the amount of credits required for a tactical strike is less, such as the free Shrike servers, which I am playing on here. I will plug those guys because their servers are wonderful. So as I was saying, pretty much always use Survivalist. As far as the other perks that you can pick, Egocentric is usually a good bet. You know, protection from self-damage as a class that has lots of things that explode in close quarters. That's a good bet. There's the Hurt Locker. That being, for those who don't know, the final stage of Explosive Spree. Not too shabby. And another good bet is Safety Third, just to get that extra Fractal Grenade. It's always a good bet. Honestly, if you're using the Gladiator, you're probably planning to die a lot anyway, so anything that sort of extends that life, I guess. As you can see here, I'm starting to pull out the shotgun a little bit more because I was getting very close to the Slayer. Oops. And that's honestly pretty much all I have to say about it. I mean, this isn't something you should be using if you're planning on getting tons of kills, although, as you see here, occasionally it does work out that way. And this is a situation in which I will say Pathfinder's shotgun does in fact lose. Again, depending on the situation, it could go either way, but typically I would say just because you have more health, you're going to win that little standoff. And this time he doesn't make the mistake of coming after me, so that's good on him.
Our flag has been captured. We have the swordless flag. Great shot. Diamond Sword has our flag.
Not sure why I bothered to call in the tactical strike there, but hey. May as well. I think perhaps I was hoping for an extra couple kills to get me that Slayer. Anyways, that's more or less what I had to say about the Gladiator. It's not complicated. It's just, honestly for me, it's just something to mess around with and have fun with, because that's pretty much what I do. I've made no secret of the fact that I have no intentions of being some sort of elite uber haxer. Mostly just interested in screwing around and having a good time, which is made pretty easy by Tribes of Sin because it's a wonderful game. We're just about done here. We got a few minutes left, but as always, I've got a lot more Tribes of Sin content on the channel, so feel free to check that out if you like. I will link in the description the other Good Brute video that I did, which is one of my more popular videos, actually. You can check out the update blog, which basically has info on all the videos I upload. If you want, I don't run ads on it or anything, so it doesn't really affect me either way, but it's a useful tool for those who want it. I'm going to be continuing to play Tribes of Sin, so you're going to see regular Tribes content on the channel, as always. If you have any suggestions as to what you would like to see me play, and there goes the Slayer. Oh well. Anyways, if you have any other suggestions of, you know, classes or, well, I mean, I've done all the classes at this point, but you want to see me use a certain weapon, you want to see me try something silly, by all means, let me know. No guarantees I'll be able to make it happen, but I will do my best. Otherwise, I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. I did find this match reasonably amusing. And maybe it'll get more people to screw around with the Gladiator. In fact, let's get an entire match where one team is just using the Gladiator. That'd be wonderful. That's about it for this time. I hope you guys enjoyed. Fortunately, I didn't get the airmail on that guy, even though I direct hit him. We will check out the final score, and that will be that. There it is. Alright, final score was 31 kills, 2 deaths. With the Gladiator. Pretty dumb. I'll see you guys next time.